We live life in high definition. Sorry, we're giggling because we're finding a little bit of humor on a hard March day.
Ooh.
Yeah. So you're in the busiest week of your year.
Yes. And of
Or
course,
one
my
of them.
machines are all breaking. And yeah, it must be the busiest week because nothing's working.
All right. So I got PJ with me, Dave, myself, Jennifer Moss. So today we're talking about goals. And I'm not talking about work goals. So I think that we can kind of break down. So I just celebrated a birthday, and we meant to film this a little bit earlier, but we had some family stuff come up, and that was a kind of a big one for me. It's only 38, but I have huge goals to be in the best shape of my life by the time I'm 40. So I got 2 years. But I got a lot of work to do, and
Well, you've been doing a lot of work, so that's what you
Yes.
said. Goals. I want to get the because when did we talk about this? It must have been January. You were
Yep.
just getting started.
I was just
You
getting
hadn't quite
started.
gotten into the cold dip yet, so
Yep.
I want to hear how the
Okay,
current
so-
goals are going.
Cool. So I'm no longer cold plunging.
No, at all.
No. Okay, so the cold plunging is awesome, and it is huge, and it is beneficial. What it comes down to is it's tricky to get to the center every morning.
Right,
for
because you're
me.
trying to work out and then go to a secondary location
and
to
try to
dip.
be here at 8:00.
Right,
and
for
this is
meetings
all on
and-
the far side of Twin. It's just
Yeah.
not logical,
Gotcha.
right? So, what ended up happening? I ended up getting accepted into a program with Dr. Will Cole. He's one of the top functional medicine gentlemen in the country, and it's an autoimmune health reset program. So they're literally going down to my cellular health, like on a base
Is
level.
in
to-
Twin Falls, or is this Boise?
This is national.
Oh, shit,
This is a really expensive, high end,
Okay.
exclusive program, and I checked all the boxes, and so figured out how to take a second mortgage on a house and figure it out.
Sell a kidney.
Yeah,
right.
get rid of my firstborn. I have no children biologically. I've inherited
Sorry,
them
B.
through marriage. So needless to say, I'm starting my 9th week of the program, and it has done a lot. I am on full elimination diet, so I can't have any inflammatory foods.
You can
Now-
now have air and water and perhaps a
vegetables.
smell of lettuce
Yeah,
occasionally.
maybe.
Yes.
If it's cooked.
Yes, and if you haven't had your fill of bone broth for the day, right?
Exactly. So, all the eliminate from his inflammation spectrum. So that is gluten, grains, dairy, inflammatory oils, sugar, eggs, nightshades, so potatoes, tomatoes, peppers, and eggplant, which is most of my spice cupboard, PS. And then nuts and seeds and legumes. So basically, I'm on protein and vegetables. And I got fruit back.
And you're right. You've lost a bunch of weight.
I've already dropped 22 pounds. I've finally been able to get back to my workouts. When I started the program, that first 30 days is like full reset. Like you're on soup and bone broth and everything's cooked. Like, and you can eat as much as you want, but you really
Of the
just-
5 things you can eat.
yeah, basically. But I feel so much better
Good for you.
that it's like, I don't want to eat these foods. So I was eating fruit at night, and I was waking up with these massive stomach aches. This is what's been happening the last 10 days. Just cut fruit out at the end of the day. I can have it in the morning, middle of the day, no problem, not any issues. I'm starting to figure out all those little nuances about your body because I'm not fighting all this inflammation.
Well, and you've so far reduced your diet that you can now pinpoint what
When I
what
add
hurts you,
something,
right?
I
What
can-
hurts you?
So cassava chips. I have a texture thing, right? I love crunchy food. So chips. I miss chips. And I miss corn chips. And corn is a grain. So no corn. Right? Come to find out I kind of flag on corn. Corn and we're not great. Being somebody who's sensitive to gluten, corn's a staple food for me a lot.
Right. In
Well,
place of.
In place of.
Right.
Well, so I did cassava. That's starting to really hurt me too. I'm getting headaches and belly aches. And I'm like, all right, let's just cut that food. So it's helped me identify what really is triggering me. Now, that's without adding any of those eliminated foods back.
Right.
So are your vegetables unlimited? You can eat
Yeah.
whatever. I'm
Six-
sorry, on
six-
fruits. So
six
do they
and-
say on
Yeah,
the
so they want
fruits
1 to 4 servings a day
of whatever you want?
of of their listed listed fruits, but there's really not anything not on there. I mean, I'm a pineapple person. I
Whereas-
love pineapple.
Whereas my doctor says, for the sugars,
Yeah.
stick to berries.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
and
and
berries
that's,
berries are one of the best
because
ones
the
for you.
antioxidants or the good
Yeah.
stuff is higher than the
Yeah.
sugar. Is that why
Yes.
the berries are
It's,
better?
Yeah.
it's a balance. You get a lot more
You know,
nutrients
and
for
I
the
love
amount of sugar.
oranges and pears and apples and things
Pineapples,
like that.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, see, and
so it's-
pineapples help me because of the enzymes help my belly because
Right.
pineapple and papaya enzymes really help stomachs.
Right.
And so this has been, I mean, when I'm not sitting there going, man, I can't wait to have cheese back or whatever. Not that I'm going to be able to eat cheese. I don't know why I even putting in cheese.
Wishful thinking.
God,
Yeah.
you know, cheese. I used to love cheese and live in Southern Idaho and not be able to eat cheese. You're like, cool, I'll have a carrot on your
Yeah.
carrot tray.
Yeah.
That's going to events is just stupid. I now just eat before I go anywhere. It's
Have
like
to.
it's just going to be easier if I eat before I leave.
Well, man, you've been fighting this the whole time. Well, we
Yeah.
can't even do a company event for you because you can't eat
Yep.
anything.
No,
And this is before your stupid
So-
elimination diet.
So when you're setting these goals on what you can and can't do, do you find yourself having to say no more often because it's going to be that temptation or whatever that is that you can't do for
So
your
I
health
think
wise?
in the past it was a little more challenging because I'd still have the want to eat the things I shouldn't eat. And I would just be like, well, I know I'm going to feel like shit later. It's fine. You know, like, and it was just this negotiation. Cause you've seen me, like, I grab something, you're like, you're not. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear about it.
I'll
Let me
punish
suffer.
myself for this
Let
later.
me suffer later. And I've now crossed this threshold where I've been able to make cookies and French toast and pancakes and eggs and all sorts of
or
things
your
for
family.
my family.
Right.
And I'm just like, meh, I'm going to make shrimp stir fry for me for breakfast.
So that's one of the things we
That's-
found. We went through.
I've crossed that threshold where it just doesn't, I don't want to feel like crap. And so I don't have any drive for that stuff. Now, there's certain things I don't want in the house.
Right. Because it's just too
It's
much
just
of a
too much.
of
It's too much.
a temptation.
But like I could buy Girl Scout cookies the other day and I just handed them to my husband and I walked away.
You know, we went through some sort of. I had to
Yeah.
get my wife healthy,
Yeah.
right? So we had to go through a pretty militant.
Yeah.
Diet
'cause you
change.
did what? It was 6 months, right?
Yes, and it went a little long, but yes, militant wise about 6 months, and it was interesting because once we eliminated sugar, we just didn't crave it.
No.
We didn't.
Right.
What you have to
You
be
have to
completely
get-
gone. Oh
Right.
man,
You
it has
have
to be
to get
gone
through it. You have to
Gone.
get through it. And the
Yes.
first couple weeks are rough.
because
But
it's
did
still
you-
working through you.
Did you also notice though that you can taste things differently?
Absolutely.
100%.
Oh man,
Absolutely.
your flavor profile, like your taste buds, just go on fire all of a sudden.
Well, and also if a part of that is you're eating whole foods. If
Oh,
as soon as you
absolutely.
eliminate that, there's nothing coming out of a packet, so you're not getting a flavor. You're getting the kale or whatever it is that you're.
Yeah.
You know, and in a typical American diet, that's all a powder or a liquid. They're
Oh,
not
yeah.
actually putting that product in. It's a flavoring. So even though you're eating something that's spinach it isn't spinach.
No,
It's a flavor. So when you start eating whole and you're
it's
actually,
huge.
man, is it a huge difference?
Well, and my appetite's totally different. I don't revolve my day around food anymore. I have to remind myself to eat a lot. I'll actually have to put like an alarm and say, "Hey, grab your soup by 1." Or it'll be like 3:30, and I'm like, "Shit, I haven't eaten anything today." Or I've had a cup of bone
not
broth.
good for you.
No, it's really
Yeah,
not.
It's not good.
And as far as so I'm doing this so that I can get my energy and my health back.
Right.
It's not to lose weight. That's an added
the
Benny.
bonus,
Doesn't
right?
bug me because weight's always been a problem for
Yeah.
me. But it's truly like just focusing on the goal and realizing your why. I'm watching a grandparent right now die slowly. My grandfather has gotten cancer and, you know, it's life is running its course. I don't want to be that. So if I make the changes now, you know, and it's different cancer, but cancer is such a normal thing now. And so all of my autoimmune disease could lead to that, whereas I could work towards remission.
Mhm.
And so, and I'm getting closer and closer to remission. I can't wait. I got a checkup right after ladies' night, and I'm curious to see
Good
how
for
I'm
you.
doing.
And
'cause-
you're back because this is about goals, right?
Mhm.
I think you're being so smart because the goal to all this is never to lose weight because that's
No.
impossible. We've known any of those
weight
who've
is a
got a
symptom.
belly. We
It's a
know this.
symptom.
Cor-
Weight is a
It's
symptom.
all about how do you
It's a
feel,
symptom.
right? We talked about how do your clothes fit. Who
Yeah.
cares about the scale? In fact, put the damn thing away.
Yeah.
Do your clothes fit again? Were you able to pull that small pair of pants that you've had in the closet
Yeah.
for?
Are you
And nothing else
comfortable?
matters. How
Are
do you feel?
Are you comfortable?
Yes.
And do you love the person looking back at you in the mirror?
Do you have the energy to be able to
Exactly.
do the things that you used to do because
Well-
you've made those changes? That's
Do you
That's where it
notice
comes
a
down to.
difference? Because I know you've gone through some health stuff
Mhm.
and changed your diet
Mhm.
quite a bit. Do you have the energy to get through a day here now?
yes,
A lot better
Yes.
than you did before.
but it's cutting out all the sugars because the sugars are just
As I was just munching on
it's an
dried fruit and
artificial-
it's in my
it's an
teeth.
artificial high.
Oh,
It's
Exactly
only
right.
for a short time. Okay, so when I have that sugar cravings, I've learned to go now to the berries. I eat a lot of berries. You know, blackberries.
yeah.
Love blackberries.
I do too.
You know, the catata berries, especially. Right? Those are cool. And nuts. So walnuts, pecans, things like that.
Those
So
are healthy for
if
you too.
if I'm snacking, that's what I'm snacking on.
Yeah.
And I feel great. I have more energy. So that's
We
you
got to
know,
get you on kombucha. I'm going to turn you to the dark side. I'm turning you, Dave.
We got to get him the nice flavors.
We
stuff
have
for a
got,
little
oh my
while.
God,
Yeah.
correct, right?
Yeah,
So-
we got to ease in.
So a
to
couple years ago,
develop-
somebody
it's an-
shared a kombucha starter with me,
Yes.
and we did it, but all I did was make the kombucha fermented. We poured it off, and then we just drank it plain. Well, someone has reshared, and so now everybody on the farm, not everybody because I'm turning Dave
Yep.
to this, but a bunch of us are doing it, and we're doing the secondary ferments, which is you take it and you put some fruit in it, and you give it another. It completely changes it. Ryan gave me the same stink
Yeah.
face you did. Oh, what did vinegar? And Dana, vinegar. Who did
well,
this?
no,
But I
I
think
don't
it's
I don't
delicious.
think
Oh my goodness,
I don't
do
think it's
too.
that. I think for those that have never done kombucha, okay, there's this little globulous
Okay. All right. So let,
piece of
let me
whatever
let me
it is.
slow you down.
and
It's a Scooby.
No,
It's
and
a
it's,
Scooby.
it's just sitting
I call
there,
it Scooby because
Scooby.
and it looks like a glob, and it's like I'm gonna
Okay.
no.
All right, so
It's
let's
the mother.
let's talk about what
It's the
kombucha
mother.
is first. So kombucha is a spore tea grown from a fungus, like a mushroom spore.
No.
It's
all,
not
Nope. All
Okay.
kombucha is fermented sweet tea. That's all it is.
technically right.
Okay, that's all it is.
Okay.
The bugs come in. What Dave was talking about. It's the
It's
same thing
full
as
culture.
mother.
It's live.
Correct.
It
It's
is
a
alive.
symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast.
There you go.
It's SCOBY,
God,
right? Or
see, yeah,
Scooby or
you're-
SCOBY.
You're the guy who's
Right.
got this figured
But
out.
so here, and here's what it's the mother in vinegar. If you've ever got organic vinegar, apple cider vinegar at the store, so you can buy it with the mother, which is the same thing. He's not
Scooby,
wrong.
the Scooby.
It looks like boogers.
Yeah, it
We call
does.
we call it booger water,
It's
and the
a-
mothers went, "Don't say that. I'll never touch it again."
It's like drinking a jellyfish. It's like
Yes, if you get it.
Everybody will tell you if you're a foodie, and I like to think that I'm a foodie.
Yep.
You eat with your eyes.
You
Okay.
use
you
a true
do.
story.
And if I'm going to see a globulous little thing in a bottle,
looks like a big.
I'm
loogie.
done. You know, that's it.
and you're not wrong. You're not wrong. We cover it at home
Yeah.
for two reasons: to keep it a little warmer, and so you don't have to look at the boogers.
Yeah.
So you're
You
exactly
have
right.
to do that.
You have to, and it's so interesting enough. It was just some of the research recently, like 3 out of the longest living 5 cultures on the planet, which I want to say is like somebody in the Pacific Islands, someplace. And I'm talking about these cultures. Almost everybody makes it to 100 years old. You know what I mean? The average age in these
They're one of
places-
those blue zones.
Correct.
Okay.
These are the 5 longest lived cultures on the planet. 3 of them all have kombucha as part of their culture.
Well, so
So,
I think we've talked
just
about this
saying.
before.
I think if you had shown me that without the globulous
yeah.
mound in there, that I probably would have liked it. But
I'm gonna get you
You've all got
when we're done
preconceived
with this.
notions, right?
There's a strawberry lemonade
Yeah.
GT
Mm.
kombucha in the fridge here. We're gonna try it.
So when you look at that and say, okay, I don't like fish. I don't care
No.
what it is.
You don't.
You know, if you don't tell me that there's fish in it, and I say, hey, that was really good, just don't tell me what it was.
Right.
I'm fine. But it's the word fish and kombucha now. You know, it's like no, I just
Well, to
can't.
be fair, a whole bunch of us on the farm are doing it. We're sharing the Scooby,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
kind of the cool part. It's I don't if anybody ever did friendship bread. I know we're wandering, but
yeah.
you know where you share the starter in it. So
Yeah.
all of us have kind of picked this up and ran with it. And yeah, Dave is just like ain't not doing it. We're not going there.
Well, you know, you got to try new things.
Oh, what I was pointing out, a bunch of us got sick here.
Yeah,
a little
yeah.
couple. We had the flu on the
Yeah.
farm,
I
which
thought you were-
everybody. Yeah,
I thought
Dave blamed the
sure-
kombucha. It's all you kombucha people that are ill. Yeah.
drinking from the same damn
They
bottle.
were
you
also
know?
all in the same office doing the same
Exactly.
work. It was a vicinity issue. That's all.
So,
Well,
goals are being healthier. I know. I'm trying to circle
well,
back
so
to your
no,
topic.
you're fine. Yeah, it's just funny. So one of I like to be inspired. So I like to put myself around things that enrich me or make me curious or inspire me, and things that don't do that, I will separate from. If something only takes, it doesn't give, or I always feel less after walking away, or I have to negotiate my energy to enter into it, it's like, nope, not doing any of those things. I already have to do that to make it to CrossFit at 6 a.m. 3 to 4 days a week. I have to negotiate with myself or trick this bitch to get out the door. Like, it is bad. I'm like, oh, it's 4:30 in the morning. Like, I have to put the clothes out. I have to make it so I can't think and talk myself out of it.
Right.
You know, your
If-
psyche or your mental health is if you're hanging around people that enrich you. You are always going to feel better about yourself and about your surroundings. Okay?
Absolutely.
And if you're always with people that are down and talking that,
You don't
you
want to
know,
be there.
yeah, absolutely.
Well, and it takes your vibration
it brings
down.
your
Yeah.
self-worth down. So
Yeah.
this is good that you're looking at that. Say, hey, I am not going to at a young age.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
to say,
not doing
hey,
any of
I
that.
called you young. I'm just throwing it out there. Just throwing it out there.
Oh, I don't feel young, but that's okay. So one of the things I'm doing, a couple of years ago, I volunteered for the half Ironman in Boise. And so where they put me on the finish line, and I was putting medals over people's necks. And there was just somebody who came through at the time that was the age of my grandmother. And I was like, what the hell am I doing with my life? Like, and so there's this thing that I learned about through Dave and Rachel Hollis when I was following them a lot that's called the 29029. And so it is from sea level to the top of Everest is 29,029 feet. And so what happens is they started this, I think they started it down in Utah, and now it's at Sun Valley and Jackson Hole and Whistler and a couple other places, Snowbird. And what it is you are given 36 hours. And you are to hike the mountain, the equivalent of the height of Everest. And so I think it's like 13 times on Snow Basin, 15 on Sun Valley. And it's literally you're just hiking up and then you ride something down. So you're only hiking up. You have 36 hours to do it. So I signed up for the Sun Valley one as a volunteer, not trying to hike that without some training. And so this summer I'll take a weekend. It's actually like second weekend in June. I did the Friday night shift and then the Saturday midday shift. And I'm going to watch. I'm going to help them. I love to volunteer, so it doesn't bother me, but it has to be something that fills my cup. And so I'm going to do the 29029 up in Sun Valley and volunteer for it so that I can build up to it. And so the cool thing is you get this bib and on the back of it, they mark you off when you've hiked, Kilimanjaro, K2.
Right.
And so
As your elevations
still,
go up, you're
each
checking
time
off mountains.
You're still, because not a lot of people finish this. Let's be realistic.
Right?
Dear God Almighty.
I don't want to finish this sentence. So I'm with
Like,
Yeah. Why are we still talking about this?
I said it. I was telling to somebody about it, and they just like the terror and horror further and further.
Yeah.
So I was like,
Hiking? That's walking
you're
for
not the
fun.
person that-
I think I'm going to volunteer for the 90210. So that's the
Okay, fair enough. That is fair. His
Yeah.
thespian would go to that. But so
Him and
part
Aaron
of
spelling.
my goals, I like to surround myself with people who have gone further, done more, that can be inspiring.
Absolutely.
Because if I put it all on a piece of paper, it's like, oh well, you've accomplished a lot, but you don't remember those in the hard moments.
You know what? I'm just because we're talking about goals, and
Yeah.
it just got me thinking. There's a little bit out there, but I feel like just the process of setting the goals is a mental exercise that helps you beyond the goals you're setting. You understand what I'm saying? So I feel like you have set so many goals in the last, say, 6 months, right?
Mhm.
Working on your health and whatnot. I question, do you feel like that's helped you in other areas of your life? Not the goals, right? Let's take that aside. Just that exercise in your brain. Do you feel like you have a little more focus on the things that matter to
Yes.
you just by doing the
Yes.
goal exercises?
So it's a case of perspective, right? So you're pissed off about something really little happening, right? So conveyor belt,
Right.
motorbikes, and you're just like, "Yeah, shit, I got 30 people standing around, and that's
Why are you
it's
talking
a little
about this
thing.
morning? Jesus.
Picking the scan.
Yeah, jeez.
so that's going on, and then you get a call from a family member that something terrible's happened. Perspective totally shifts.
Right.
And you're like, okay, what's important right now? Okay, I just need to get my task, my team working on something. And then I'm going to need to prioritize when I'm leaving to go deal with this. Or somebody falls at work and you're just pissed off because a customer was yelling at you. Suddenly that customer isn't important and your employee is. And so it's a perspective shift. So, and I'm just giving work examples, but like for me, watching my grandfather go through this from a distance, we went down there, spent the time. It's just helped me understand that the little things aren't that big of a deal. And so, okay, I need to ask for help more. I'm really bad at asking for help. I have literally been looking through my task list and I've gone to my staff and said, hey, I'm going to need help with things. They're now coming to me and say, what can I take? What can I take? What can I take? And they're seeing that that's helping me manage them better. And it's helping them get closer to their goals faster too, because they all have the ability to do it. I've just always handled it. And so it's really, it's just helping that perspective shift.
Just living in the 21st century, being an American, living in 21st, I feel like our battle is always noise.
Oh, there's so much.
There's so much
So
damn
much.
noise, and be that at work, be that at home. There's just so much noise, and that's why I feel like just the exercise of tuning the noise out long enough to write a post-it note goal,
Yeah.
is just
Well, and making
tuning your brain to shut out the noise, right?
making it a SMART goal too.
And
What
for
is that?
those
Specific,
and for those that,
measurable, achievable,
Well, that's all a big part of the goals.
realistic, and timely. Sorry, I'm
What was
looking
the
at
acronym?
Dave.
Say it again.
SMART. So specific, measurable, obtainable, realistic, and I don't think R is realistic. And then T is timing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
you have to be that specific.
No, you
and I
do
think
well.
on your goal setting, those that journal,
Yeah.
that really got into the habit of journaling in the evenings or first thing in
Yeah.
the mornings, you'll always see generally that they're very well rounded and very well balanced as well, because they've been able to do that as a daily, here's my feelings, here's
Yeah.
what's happening.
Do you know what I find when I journal? The pen won't lie. No matter. Okay, so we have to put on this front
Right.
world
Right.
in
Right.
whatever way,
Right.
and I'd like to pride myself on I am authentic 97% of the time. But I actually had a meeting with folks over at the United Way, and they're like, "Yeah, we just invited Jennifer because she's a lot sometimes," and I was like, "Oh, thanks." Like I don't even feel bad about that. And they're like, "No, you show up authentically every time without fail." And that there was some peppered curse words through because on a frustrated day, that's how it comes out of my mouth.
Mhm.
So I try to tone it down a little bit when I'm on like Facebook Live occasionally. If I can just not drop the F bomb, I'm set. So like that's just kind of one of those things. So it's just navigating those moments, and I can't lie to myself when I'm writing it out.
Absolutely.
I can't. And so that's just an interesting hack. And it was as I was starting to get more consistent with my journaling, and I've kind of fallen off the wagon, but I need to get back doing
Because
it.
you're not busy at
Yeah.
all. Nothing is going on in your life at all.
It all comes down to making sure that you get enough sleep, drink
Big
enough
deal.
water,
Big deal.
eat, and
Yeah.
take care of the
Say
things.
that twice to
Yeah, I
yourself,
know.
please. Eat
Hey, I've already eaten a little bit today.
today.
Yeah,
Today.
I'm doing great.
We pick on her because we want her to feel good. And she's getting so little calories from this elimination
Yeah.
diet. She goes, "Oh, I haven't eaten since 4." No, stop it. You have no gas in your tank. So we're picking on her a little bit.
Yeah, and I don't ever get like the hunger.
But she's not having the Betty White moment for the most part,
No,
So
True.
it's,
Yeah, I haven't had
it's,
too many Betty White moments because
I
we.
feel like part of that is the eliminate, although the sugar, those
Yeah.
crashes are what give those
Yeah.
Betty Whites.
Well,
the carb highs,
and
the
also
sugar highs,
being consistent on my workouts because that really helps my
the stress, right?
And then also I've spent a lot of time doing alternative therapies like floating and sauna and so I did quit cold plunging, but I replaced it with sauna.
Good for you.
So it's still a detox, it's still an inflammation control.
Okay, because
So-
the heat does it. So I was going to ask you
Yeah.
because I'm interested. Well, I'm not getting my big ass in a cold tank, so that's neither here nor there.
You should do it's called fire and ice. So you start in the
Yeah.
sauna
Somebody
Yeah.
just said
and
that.
Yeah.
you go into the plunge.
So
at the
one
end.
of our staff fell and hurt herself, right? And so they text me in the morning. They go, "Hey, I've fallen. I've really hurt myself. I'm in a bad way." The next couple texts I get goes, "I'm going to do cold therapy." I go, "What does that mean? You're going outside naked? Like, is that?" That's the first thing that I thought of in my head, right? Oh, we're just going to get buck naked and go run around the yard. I did. Did you see the anti-inflammatory
Yeah.
reaction from that? So, in other words, if you
The
worked out
energy-
hard and went
the
and
energy levels, the soreness after workouts, all that. Well, it's reduced.
or reduced, it's not
reduced.
gone. It's just reduced.
So think of it, every one of those is after an NFL game, and they're doing the interview.
every one of them. They're in
They're
the ice
doing
bath.
the interview in the ice bath. and
Every one of
in
them.
the locker room, and
Well,
so
you-
that's the same concept.
And you're talking about the attributes of what you're doing, and it seems to be rubbing off on a few folks. Somebody close to you where they went out for the first time to do a
Yeah.
float. And
Yeah.
it's like,
well, it's also a really good thing if you're trying to heal any mental stuff.
The cold is, or the cold tank, or just
any
the whole,
of these,
this whole
any of these
focus?
therapies. Actually,
Right.
this cold stuff was really developed and researched through a couple of different entities. But Wim Hof lost his wife to suicide. Like she did something very terrible to kill herself too, and left him with little kids. And he used cold therapy to work through the mental challenges of losing his wife. And he literally then can show it with mental health. He can show it with chronic physical disease like fibromyalgia.
Okay,
There we go.
there you
I have
go.
my M and my F mixed up. So, like people like that. And he says, if you can control your mind and sit and have the stamina, the discipline, the wherewithal, the grit to sit through that, you can conquer any disease. That is his whole idea. And then they've figured out like the science behind what it does to your cells and everything, because they do it this way. You're going in cold. What does your body immediately do when you go in the cold?
Yep, super tense.
So you're training your body to let go of that tension and to relax over time. So you're already putting it through something very shocking, so that when you have a conveyor belt die, it's the same concept of working out. So a lot of people cold plunge every single day.
Right.
And that's really how you have to do it 4 to 7 times a week really to get the benefit.
Right.
And so
it's not a one and done.
Yeah. And I am trying to inspire some people close to me in my life, but it's been interesting to watch, somebody close to me. I gave them some credits. My mom gave some credits, and they've been going regularly, and they're like suddenly starting to be like, man, I really like this. And it's like, it really helps to just decompress. And it was good for that person also to hear from other people.
We were a 3 and a 5 minute soak. You're talking
okay. So, and I'm talking about cold plunging.
Right. This is not a long thing.
3 to 6 minutes is about where you find the benefits. But like sauna, 30 to 60 minutes. If you're not like a hot sauna person, I'm not. Infrared sauna. Still get, as long as you're sweating, you're getting the benefit. The cold not the cold plunge, the floating, you're in like a sensory deprivation area. So there's no other sensations.
Shawnee would be upset if you use those words, though.
I think I said it right.
No, sensory deprivation chamber is what those originally were called.
Yeah, but
right, she goes, that's too negative. That's too negative.
Hers aren't a total chamber, and that's why I didn't
she
say.
She has some of them.
She has a pod that you can completely close. So but then there's the open room, and then there's the cabin, and the cabin's my favorite. And so you just figure out what works for you. Like my mom doesn't like enclosed spaces, and she loves the pod because it keeps her warm. Me, I like the fresh air, so I like the cabin because I feel like I'm taking up way too much space in that open room because it's a huge tank. That's like the date night tank. I want to be getting frisky in the salt water. I'm not suggesting that, but that's playing with fire, and I mean that in a skin feeling owie way. So yeah, okay. With that,
so
that was
my takeaway today.
Yeah,
goals are good.
Yes,
Kombucha.
We're gonna turn him before the next. Watch. We're going to get him to the dark side here before this is all said and done.
Well, and think through your goals. If you don't understand your why for the goal, you're never going to complete it. All right. With that, we will invite you to go live life in full color because playing is pretty boring. Thanks, guys. If you like what you're hearing on Bloom in Full Color, please go follow us on any of the platforms and like our podcast and share it with your friends. Leave us a comment. We always want to hear if there's a different topic that you want us to talk about or anything you want us to cover. And thanks again for listening.